I got so much to air right now. I'm so like my grievances. It's ridiculous. I'm walking out of I'm leaving a client's place. I was going to call you, and I said, okay, I can do this real quickly, and get out of here. But I'm leaving a client's place that there's two entrances to the neighborhood, and here in South Florida, I like to use the word F because that's how pissed off I am, but I'm not going to say it on your show. But I'll say friggin' aggravating with these gates that they have here, these security gates, and it's not like I'm going into Donald Trump's neighborhood. Anyway, I mean they have the security, the gates, and the security guards, and the way you have to get into them is just simply ridiculous. If anybody is going to try to steal something from somebody, they're not going in with cars so you can see their license plate. They're going to go in on foot, and you can easily go in on foot. But they make you go through these gates. I went through this one neighborhood. It's from my house to this place. It's like a pretty short way. But in order to get to the main gate, because you can't go in the back gate because that's only for the residents. But in order to go to the main gate, you have to go all the way around, and then all the lights to get there. It took me, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, it took me 20 minutes to go from the back side of the neighborhood where she is, where I could have easily just gone right through, I would have been there, all the way around to the main gate, then get called in. It took me 20 minutes of my time.
Of
Talk about profit.
Yeah. And and there it is. And nobody's got respect on that 20 minutes of your time, right?
Right. Nobody does. I'm thinking to myself, client's paying for this. Client's going to pay for this.
Yeah, that's right.
Every stinking bit of it, the client is going to pay for it. It's ridiculous.
So how to go once you finally got in? I mean, and you got into Alcatraz. It's kind of like breaking out of Alcatraz, right? But
that's exactly right.
Once you finally got in, man, how to go? Was she all right? Did you get?
She's great. I mean, she's really nice, or real patient. I mean, down here, it's a permit process. We had this whole long week of talking about permits last week, and we should have gotten you involved in that as well, because I'm sure that you do something with permits, don't you? I mean, I guess with cutting lawns, you really don't.
We don't need it. No,
truck.
We just need, with us, I mean, we need to have a business license in all these 697 little communities we walk into, but they all, it's like $25 a year to have a business license to cut in this zip code. I mean, it's stupid, but yeah, we play the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so here in South Florida, you need a license for every single thing you want to do, whether it's pavers, landscaping, lighting, whatever it is. But that's not the bad, and that's easy. That's easy to do. Go get license, no big deal. But when you go to get a permit, they make you. It doesn't matter what you're doing to the property. Some cities actually make you do all of the fill out all of the paperwork. In other words, let's say you're doing a patio for a resident. You not only have to just do a building permit, you have to get an engineering permit. Then you have to do a tree affidavit to prove how many trees are on the property. Remember, you're not installing any trees or taking any down, but in other words, they want you to do inventory for them.
Well, why does a tree inventory matter if you're not going to be taking them down?
Well, they're really obviously, I think they're trying to make it so they're organizing their city, right? They want to make sure that everybody has, as far as canopy is concerned and impervious areas, they want proper shade, they want green space, they want everybody to be equal. So I have a tree affidavit right in front of me as I'm driving. I'm going to read it to you. And this is about, it tells you how many trees are you supposed to have on your property. So we live in Gestapo land where they're telling us how to landscape our property. They're going to tell us how many trees we need to have on our own property. Okay, the minimum number of trees required on your property is based on the square footage of the lot. Of course, they're going to make rules, and it's all going to sound wonderful, right?
Right.
If you have 4,000 square feet to 6,000 square feet, you need 3 trees and 18 shrubs. You need to have them. If not, you're going to get friggin' fined. you're going to get fined. You can have more, but you can't have less than that. If you have 6,000, 8,000 square feet, yeah. Now think about this. If I want to install a stinking bathroom in the property, I have to fill out a friggin' landscape affidavit.
Now, is that you, the contractor, or the owner has to have that completed by the contractor?
Oh, no, the homeowner, I have to do it for the homeowner, or the homeowner could be the owner-builder, of course. We all know we can get our own permits if we want, but you still got to follow the stinking rules. Oh, and by the way, she had to go and get it notarized with her signature. Not just her signature is good enough. She has to go find a notary public and get it notarized saying, I agree to everything here.
Wow.
You know,
so what's that fee? What's that cost somebody, Darren? Okay, so you're going to do a patio for me in my backyard in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for an example.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What do you charge me to get all these tree compliances and whatnot completed?
Well, not to mention the cost, by the way. Like I was telling you, I was saying last week, they're happy to give us these forms because we have to pay for them to take it back from us, filled out. We have to do all the work and submit the form with a check. They're going to charge us, right?
It's kind of like us having to collect sales tax and don't get nothing for it.
Nothing. Damned. It's they make you do it. So I will charge. I mean, depending on all the running that I have to do, I'm charging a minimum of $1,500 just for my running around and having to fill out all the paperwork. Not to mention the cost of the paperwork. So let's think. So, and by the way, you also have to have a notice of commencement. And you can't go to the township for that or the city for that. You have to go to the county court and record that you're going to do a job that's going to cost you more than $2,500, and record it. You can't do a job until you have the notice of commencement, and that costs you money.
Do they respond to those, or okay? So if I'm going to do a landscape for Miss Smith, okay, and I go do this notice of commencement at the courthouse or wherever I go to get it done. I mean, once I followed them, am I good to start, or do I have to wait for an acceptance letter or an approval letter? What happens?
Yeah, that's nothing to do with the permits. Nothing to do with the permits. Matter of fact, the permit, you get approval for the permit, and you can do whatever you want. The only thing is, if you don't record it with the county, you can get seriously fined. It's two separate entities.
Now, I got to believe that there's a lot of mow and blow operations in Florida, is like there are in most communities, most states.
There's all mow and blows. I would say 3%. 3% of the companies that are cutting lawns down here are actually doing it on the books.
Yeah, I know. Before I started my business here in Louisville, I was actually we always went to Sarasota there on the West Coast, Florida, and for vacation. So I looked into maybe starting this business down there when I was younger, and at that time, Darren, this goes back to 85, 80. 79, 80, probably 85, just give or take. I really can't remember. A long time ago, but there were 692 registered lawn services in Sarasota County. I have no idea what it would be now. Haven't looked since then, but I thought, Jesus Christ, if there's 692 legitimate services, there's no telling how many others there are.
Yeah.
And that is a true story, a fact. And, I'm thinking as you're telling these stories about permits and a permit to start and whatnot, how many of these guys are actually complying with that? You said 3% maybe?
That's what I'm guessing.
I mean, hearing you say they got to have so many trees and so many bushes, if I'm a service, I'm thinking, damn, that's a pretty good sales list I could go off. I'm just going down the street telling people, hey, you're not in compliance. We need to get you in compliance. I'm telling
you. Yep. Why not? Why not do that? And that's the problem. They're telling you, they're just taking over of what you can do and what you can't do. People that are listening from New Jersey or from the rural areas of the country are saying that's stupid and ridiculous.
Right.
It's no. I mean, there's areas that you don't have to have landscaping at all. Like who the hell wants? I don't want to spend. What if I don't want to spend money on maintenance on anything? But they're telling me I need to do that. Telling me how to live.
Now these are not just in the HOAs, right? I mean, this is just any.
No.
This is any property owner, homeowner.
I'm gonna make one statement, and it's gonna make you realize why. We live in Florida. What is Florida known for? What is Florida known for?
No sales tax.
No, Florida's known for a place to retire.
No,
which
I know.
means what?
I was going down the road with you,
right?
buddy.
I know. But it's a place to retire and a place where all old people are, and they have nothing better to do. Imagine speaking to the old people that have nothing better to do. They're going to make up as many rules as they possibly can.
That's right.
And that's what they do. They have nothing better to do but to tell you they're creating a job for themselves, so they have something to retire on.
Wow.
Now I can go and enforce this. Now I have a job for myself. I can go and enforce it. Meanwhile, it's a way for us to get money for the township. But they mask it, or they make it fluffy and make it feel really good because they're telling you they're trying to create green space for you.
Yeah.
There's plenty of. First of all, we're going to do it on our own because we all love to. We all love to do it. There's plenty of green space, and what about all the parks? Start taking money, put it into the parks like we should be.
Well, I'm kind of curious here too. I mean, this brings up a good point, and just for our listeners here on Profit Time, how many of you guys, listening to us throughout the country, have similar regulations within your state? Because I mean, we run into some of this within specific HOAs, but not like a whole county, or the whole state for sure is not. But, we go into certain HOAs and you got to have so many trees, so many this, so much, and that works out pretty good, from, hey, we need to get you in compliance, kind of thing. And that's when I'm hearing this about a whole state of Florida having the same law, first of all, got to believe that most of the contractors aren't even coming close to following it and getting and what happens if you don't? Let's say I put a patio, Darren, you guys put a patio in for me, and I didn't get the permit to put that 20 by 20 patio in with the seating area on it. What happens? Do they make you take it out? If you get, so you got a neighbor that's a butthole, and the neighbor says, oh, yeah, I think he's got a seating area and a fire pit and whatnot installed. Did he get the permits on it? Do they make you take it out, or they just make you pay the fine?
Well, depending on, okay, so there's two things. Like if it's just landscaping, obviously you're not going to make you take it out and put it down. But what they're going to do is charge you triple the amount. They're going to fine you triple the amount of the contract. That's going to be the fine, or the amount of the permit. And then you're going to have to pay, which it could be $1,200 for a permit, by the way, easily. $1,200 for a permit. So then charge you triple and then make you pay for the permit. Then make you start again. Nice. That's going to be a fine. So that's what they got you by the ball. So let me tell you, there's a lot of guys out there, like a lot of pool guys down here that are not getting permits to put walls, shear descents on pools. They go, what's the big deal? You're putting a wall with a shear descent. You're attaching plumbing to be whatever. Let me tell you something. You're screwed. If you're a homeowner and you get caught, you are screwed because they're going to make you take it down, take it off because now you didn't get any engineering or structural designs. There's nothing submitted. They're not going to see how it was built. They don't care. You're going to cost yourself a ton. I lost a job to a guy that was about $1,800 less than me and did not get permits. Man, I'm not that guy, but boy, was I tempted to freaking call the township and tell them that they did this with it. I mean, because how else are people going to learn? If you're doing it right, if I know that I have to do it right, and I can't compete with a guy that's not doing it right.
Now, just curious, you've been down there a long time. Do they check if I go to sell my home? Like if I go to sell my home now, they'll check my property line, make sure the fence is right, blah blah blah. Do they check on those things to make sure things are properly installed if I'm going to sell my home to somebody else, so that they can come back on me?
That's not their responsibility unless they had see, when you open up a permit, then it's their responsibility. Look, they're taking on that responsibility, by the way.
Okay.
That's why they want to make sure they run you through the mill to make sure you're doing it right. They're taking on that responsibility. But if you never open up a permit and you get the job done, they might question you. But you know what? It's too hard to prove that you didn't do that. It's too hard to prove that, because the homeowner will say, well, that was here when I moved in.
I got you.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's too hard to prove. But if they proved it, oh, you'd be in big trouble. But that's it. So, we're running into a job here that has, in Pompano, that the fence was already up, and she just wanted to change the fence. But the height of the fence is too tall next to the water. And she's like, I want to replace that fence with a newer fence, but I want to keep the same height. And the township said, no, you can't have a fence that high. It has to be 3 foot high. It can't be 6 foot high, that close to the water. She said, screw this. Don't tell me what I can do. I've been living like this for 10 years. That fence has been there. It's been 6 feet high. If you're changing, you got to take it down. So she said, screw it. So she already opened up the permit, right? So now what's going to happen is, she said, I want you to take the permit away. I said, not a good idea. You've already opened up. They're going to come and check no matter what it is. So we've changed the permit so that it's only a certain fence, and then she's going to come back later and put it in. But guess what? She can always say that was the original fence, but she might get caught and she might have to pay. Messed up.